Hey bro, let's do some heavy sets of squats. No bro, I can't. I train for aesthetics, remember? If that sentence ever came out of your mouth, congratulations, you're an idiot. I've heard that way too many times, and it slowly started to get on my nerves. You see, the greatest irony of training for aesthetics is that no one who promotes it can actually describe what it is, or what it means. The majority of people in the gym who lift weights have either one of two goals: to get stronger, or to simply gain more mass, with the goal of achieving an aesthetic physique. So, if you put two and two together, the aesthetic physique is a product of hypertrophy training, which is something bodybuilders and athletes have literally been doing since forever. But training for aesthetics sounds way cooler, so of course, social media troglodytes started using it as a clickbait. And here, the I train for aesthetics guys are divided into two groups. The first group consists of clueless individuals who have about as much fitness knowledge as a body activist with a blue hair. And they use the phrase "I train for aesthetics" to cover up the fact that they've long lost their balls, so they can't train hard and lift heavy. And don't forget that those are the ones who wear lifting gloves.
Aesthetic physique is an athletic one, but how do you lift weights without looking like a gross bodybuilder? You do this by doing athletic movements with hypertrophy rest times and reps. Athletic movements are multi-joint compound exercises.
Yes, because these gross bodybuilders never do compound exercises, what the fuck.
And doing the isolation exercises standing up.
Yeah, but doing an isolation exercise standing up does not make it a compound exercise.
The only time you'll be laying or sitting down is to change the musculature you're targeting. You might be able to build an athletic physique using these lazy bodybuilder movements.
I'm pretty sure that if you did those lazy movements to failure or even beyond, you wouldn't be calling them lazy movements anymore, trust me.
But you won't have the physicality and the capability like an athletic body should.
What a load of horseshit that was. That's all I can really say about that. One of the most retarded excuses is "I don't want to get too big, you know," or "No, you don't understand. My goal is to have a physique like David Late, not Chris Bumstead." I literally get a fucking tumor when I hear something like that, because that's one of the most moronic things you can say. First of all, you will never get too big, believe me. When you will gain some experience and realize how slow muscle growth actually is, you will wish to become bigger, and you will laugh at yourself saying, "Oh, what the fool I was 5 years ago when I thought that I would get too big, or that I would get a girlfriend." The worst thing that can happen is that you become fat if you're one of the fools who believe in the myth of dirty bulking. Also, do you really think that David Lade or whoever your idol is trains differently than a bodybuilder who is trying to put on size? No, except for some minor differences of course, the training principle is completely the same. The goal is to get bigger and stronger. On the other side, we have the second group of guys who actually give a decent advice and kinda know what they're talking about, but they simply don't realize that what they perceive as training for aesthetics is actually the classic hypertrophy training style, which is nothing new, and its goal is of course to maximize muscle growth. Or maybe they do know that, but they simply use this to get more views, I don't know.
Most bodybuilders and aesthetic lifters want to keep their waist and hips as skinny and symmetrical as possible.
Yeah, I've been lifting for quite some time and I don't really know what the fuck an aesthetic lifter is supposed to be. Like, is that a bodybuilder who doesn't use steroids, or just a casual gym bro, or a powerlifter who looks aesthetic? I don't fucking know. Second thing, having a skinny and symmetrical waist mostly depends on your genetics.
If you just want to look good, you really only need to train your show muscles, which would be your pecs, arms, lats, shoulders, abs, and quads.
So you basically mentioned almost every major muscle group here except hamstrings, and as far as I know, every lifter trains those muscles anyway. But let's explain what an aesthetic physique as we know it in the world of fitness actually is, and why training for aesthetics isn't even a thing. Or is it? Take what I'm about to tell you as this, I don't fucking know which pill from the Matrix that you have to swallow. You know, the one all of those cancerous self-improvement channels and Reddit scientists use as a metaphor to tell you the harsh truth. Yeah. The first and most important thing that defines an aesthetic physique is, as you probably guessed, your shoulder to waist ratio, or simply the V-taper. So, the better your shoulder to waist ratio is, the greater the illusion of aesthetics will be. For example, let's take two athletes with the exact same height, the exact same amount of muscle mass, and the same body fat percentage. The first one has a better shoulder to waist ratio, while the other one not so much. So, if you'll ask people, quickly tell me which one is more aesthetic, the vast majority of fingers will point to the first athlete. And the hard truth here is that this ratio depends mostly on our bone structure, which is something we are born with and is a result of our genetics. The same logic applies to alcoholics and wife beaters. And now you experts who train for aesthetics, please explain your secret divine training methods to the other athlete. Is he going to take a fucking chainsaw and cut a few inches off his waist? In my humble opinion, the answer is no. All he can do is, guess what? Gain some additional muscle mass in the upper body and try to create the illusion of a small waist. It's like trimming the bushes around your patio to make it look bigger. It can only be done to some extent, if you know what I mean. Since we are talking about trimming the bushes, I would like to thank today's video sponsor, Just kidding, I don't have a video sponsor. I'm a small creator.
For now.
At this point, I want to stop for a moment on the common belief that focusing on training specific muscle groups like side delts and upper chest more will help you achieve an aesthetic physique faster. While there definitely is some truth behind this, it's still better that you give equal emphasis to all muscle groups from beginning, and after years of training, you will identify your actual weak points. Then you can start dedicating more effort to those. Let's back on some size first, and then we worry about the details. But let's get back on track. The second important thing are your muscle insertions, or in other words, how and where your muscle attaches to the bone. This is easiest to explain with the example of chest muscles. Again, let's take a look at those two pictures. The first athlete has simply better muscle insertions, which is also the result of genetics, and all the second guy can do is again, gain more muscle mass to cover it up to some extent. And we are back at trimming the bushes. Do you see where this is going? And the last thing is symmetry, which speaks for itself, so I won't describe it in more detail. All I can say for the third time already is that it largely depends on your genetics.
Bruh.
And now I hear you ask, Matos, what should you do to achieve an aesthetic physique? Is that even possible? Well, if you haven't figured it out yet, the answer is very simple. Watch my videos and take steroids. Just kidding, you don't have to watch my videos. You train exactly the same way as you would if you wanted to compete, but without PEDs, and believe me, you will achieve amazing results. Just don't forget that some things are a product of your genetics, and there's not all that much you can do about it. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't try. So please, erase the sentence "I train for aesthetics" from your mind and replace it with "I train to become the biggest and the strongest I can be." Thanks for watching.